There's your Dasim and Chav Test, Sif Yud Ches to Chav Aleph. Today is supplemental day 154 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi series. Yuches Ochem in the Milavel with Trefa Samitz from the Bela and Trefa Obema Chayav with Fame, or from a non-kosher animal, mina or from the hide, mina tzamos from the bones, mina gidim from the sinews, mina karnayim from the horns, mina frayim from the hooves, mina tzamayim from the nails, shall oaf of the bird. Um, Animals have hooves, birds have nails. From the places where some blood will spurt out in the cut. I mean, the and from their fetuses. Abish also, even though it's also raise a part of malchus, you're exempt from malchus. Because these are not suitable to be consumed. You don't turn up with the flesh to make up the shear of a kazais. From the words around there, it becomes clear. Then these both called kabasar by a bird. All these have the halacha of actual flesh, because they're soft. But the din on but there's difficulty with why the bones of a chicken, which are not soft, should be different than the bones of an animal. He says, "Look in Taisus Uchulin, Kufid Zayin or base." Anyway, the horns and the hooves and the nails at with the top space where the blood is not spurt when you cut them. They're not relevant to. They're not relevant to the category of food at all. The Gam Israel said there's no prohibition in this, and he says in brackets, seems to be the case, indicating the Gemara. Your test. Their hides is like flesh. Some eats kazais from this hide is like eating from the flesh. Or of such as the hide of a chicken. Of a bird in general, and then other hides also. Eat them when they're soft. These are they. Or adam, the hide of a human being. Skin of a person. The hide of a pig. Shal Yishuv, it's a domestic pig. And the hide of the of a camel. Shotolab Masamil, which never bore burden. And then reach the stage where it'd be suitable for burdens. Shadai Rakon is still soft, or Beis Boshes, and the hide of the embarrassing place, Beis Harechem, which is the opening to the uterus, and the hide underneath the tail, and the hide of the fetus, and the hide of these various different rodents, some of them I think are even lizards and such like. All these hides, chain rockers on the soft and kabasal called over like flesh for all matters. Mainly this whether in terms of the prohibition of eating it, in terms of becoming tummy. Those arguable by the skin of the uterus. It says in the brackets here to look at Rashi Kufcha Beis on the base and in Lechem Mishnah. When these hides become tough, such as you tan them, you walk in them, on them, because they have voted in order to cure them, and a kabasa no longer like flesh. It's the Maggid Mishnah. Or Adam, and even the skin of human being, which because of Rambam, in terms of tumah, there's no distinction between his person's skin and a person's flesh, like the Rambam writes in Pekim to in terms of eating, it's like other hides which we mentioned. So, of course, one of the famous questions of the early 20th century, question of gelatin, which the post in early years tend to be more makel concerning and consider gelatin to be not edible because it came from the hides and from the hooves and the bones. But in later generations, later years, it seems that the poskim were more severe, stringent concerning gelatin and regarded actually as edible and therefore also unless done from a kosher animal or from fish or such like. Chaf. Nemar Shor Niskal, it says about an ox which has to be stoned because it murdered somebody. Lo Yachos Besoro, you're not allowed to eat its flesh. How would you be allowed to eat it after you stoned it? I ain't available. It's become available. Now, Kosabalos, but the put's going to indicate Shkim Madino skill once its judgment has been rendered that it has to be stoned, Nesar becomes forbidden and it becomes like a non-kosher animal. But feeling Kodam Shachta, even you preceded the death penalty's imposition and you shechted, Shchita Ksher with a kosher Shchita, also by no, it's still forbidden to have benefit from it, Kil Nisko as if it was stoned. V'machem b'sorach k'zayis okay, beat k'zayis of its flesh, you get flogged. Yesh Rabbi saying this feeling those rabbis hold the shonisko ain't also mechanika no that ox to be stoned does not become also while it's alive to derive benefit from. V'im shachtu la'achashing madino ain't also b'chila. And if you shechted after its judgment is rendered, it's only also to eat, but not also by no. So many times tastes vachim not fine out. Shiniska only when it becomes stoned, it's also by no. Then you can't even give its flesh to dogs. Therefore, it says you should not eat the flesh. Pirish, and this Rabbeinu time explains. Or Shaniska, it's talking about the flesh of the Shaniska when it's mutter by no. Ava oro also by no. That was wrong. That's why it says to say that it's now to eat it, but it's with the mutter by no unless if and when it's actually stoned. Period. There should be a period there. New thing. Uferish, the refuse, the dung. Shoniska mutter by no, you're allowed to benefit from it. Avo, not a pirish. Perish or shoniska mutter by no. Avo ora, but it's hide. Also, but it's forbidden to benefit from its hide. We can raise a question by its bones and its sinews and its blood. The Gemara only mentions the hide. However, it's chalev. I don't know if here it means chalev or chalav. Is it about fat or milk? I think it's about fats. Definitely osbana. They came dino kitmea. Since it has like a behemoth tmeah, and betmeah ain't chiluk ben achel b'lo. There's no difference between the fat and the flesh. Which obviously if you died. Really, it seems to me the chatzi zayis shor niskal person has half a zayis of an ox to be stoned, and if service chatzi zayis of it doesn't join up with half a zayis of an avela or tmeah or a non-kosher animal malchus. Game shor niskal yishlav v'nias because shor niskal is a separate independent lab. Shorashing by dina skila, an ox which has had its judgment rendered has to be stoned. Who's made of its Adam and found to be Adam. So it becomes reverts to be completely kosher. Since its Adam were found to be Adam only, they're lying. Go back and graze in the herd. Notice the Agash and Niskal, and if you only became aware of this after so you've been stoned, so what can you do with it? By raising mutzah, you're allowed to benefit from it. Increase stuff. Chav Gimel. Chav Kasser Rambam Perkei Mashin Din Gimel. The Ram writes, Abish Kol Treifos Halachim Mashim Sinai Hein. Hey, here it says it's Treifos Halachim Mashim Sinai. Early in the sermon we doubted that, but and it's possible that we're just saying it's a concept of Treifos Halachim Mashim Sinai, not the specific ones, because Arukh should quoted this Rambam if this is actually directly pertinent to the concept of being Halachim Mashim Sinai. But however, Drusa, since the only one explicit in Torah is Drusa, where it's ripped apart, Hichmirba, they're Machmir, and when it's ripped apart. B'chol Safik, she in the topic, but Drusa also. And any stuff which have it in Drusa, it's also Vishar, Mishiva Mina Trefos, it's going on the overarching categories, right? Not on the specific Trefos. Specific Trefos were determined by Chazal. The overarching categories were determined by Halachim Mashim Sinai. Shashim and Trefos, Yeshbem, Shishvek, and Mutar, those of them which in the case of doubt are permitted. Ad Kan Lashono. All of all the sage generations have had difficulty in the Rambam. Where I find that we're more machmir by an animal which is ripped apart more than other treifas. Besides, what difference would it be between that which is halachim machina and that which is explicit in Torah? They're both the risos. Also, the Arukh HaShulchan had said. There's a HaShulchan station. All the treifas include Halachim Mashim Sinai, as we said. But many words have been said about this. The bracket says here, "V'yesh ikshu midaf mem gimel On base, B'yashlo Kutz of Beshet, where the last case where an animal had a thorn in its esophagus. Baruch as Mashim Esophagus Drusa. Why it's different than Esophagus Drusa? Rambam my maksha. According to Rambam, what's the difficulty? Of course, it's different. It's not true. Drusa is more severe. Menichu was that people have difficulty with responding to this Rambam. Machmem is zelo kashara, but HaShulchan says that's not difficult. The Rambam Svirle Menikivas Abeshet have an avela. Rambam that where it's the esophagus is pierced, it's an avela. What's that? See, lo dam kosher is not like oil trefus. The shapir dam is the dam is something drusa. Since it's an avela, it is actually like something at least. It is like something drusa because the avela is on the same level as drusa, even the other trefus are not. Much because it's for short, like this for short writes this. Okay, so the we're going to have to continue on with this tomorrow. Why is the Rambam make this extraordinary distinction between drusa and all the other forms of trephos? That's it for today.